What's a misconception about your profession that you're tired of hearing? Story 1. Fire sprinkler designer here. Fire sprinkler. Water is not clean and clear like the movies depict. That water more than likely has been in those pipes for decades and is filled with corrosion and cutting oil. As soon as a sprinkler goes off, you are getting doused with black tar water. Story 2. I'm a longtime caregiver to mother who lives with dementia. For some reason, people don't consider it work. That includes doctors. I'm on call 24/7. I can't leave for long periods of time. My own health went to shit. Geriatric care costs are astronomical. Yet all people hear is, "You're not working." Story 3. That graphic design is fun, cool, exciting, and we'll do it for peanuts just because we enjoy it. Sorry to break it to you, but I got bills to pay, and most of the time I'm trying to protect the client from making really bad decisions because they feel they could do it themselves if they could just draw a little better. Story 4. Teachers are brainwashing and indoctrinating our kids. Bruh, I can barely get these adorable little be-it-stards to being a damn pencil to class. I'm flattered you think I have that much power, but I can assure you I do not. Story 5. I work as a therapist. Lately I have been seeing a lot of posts suggesting we're all psychopaths in it for the money. I find it sad. I don't do this for the paltry relative income. I actually do give a shit about everyone I see. I cannot solve all your problems, but I am zealous to help us try. Massive amounts of income. Ha! I can tell you how much I have made from personal income off clients in the past 5 years. 0. I am a government employee. Story 6. I'm an attorney. A lot of people, maybe most people, have this bizarre idea that a court case turns on who has the better attorney. As if we're wizards, hurling eldritch beams of light at one another, until one of our minds snap and the empty husk slumps to the floor. The judge whispers a fey enchantment, his fingers curling in an unknown arcane sign, and the victor is bathed in emerald light. A bad attorney can absolutely sink your case. But once you reach a level of basic competence, the facts of the case are almost exclusively what drive victory or defeat. I can make clever arguments all day, but if you beat the shit out of an orphan to steal his Pokemon cards, my twisted magics will not avail you. Story 7. Call center customer service agent, telecom. For the last 12 years, I've had to hold the hand of thousands of customers through the phone. It's not an easy job. I have to remember the specs of all the new cellular devices, all the codes for our ancient DOS base as 400 system, and above all that, I have to deal with people who have issues breathing and speaking at the same time. It's exhausting. At the end of the day, my body is awake and ready, but my mind is mush. Oh, and I do it in 2 languages. Story 8. Vegetable farmer. We get so many applicants wanting to connect to the soil, yet have never touched a shovel before. So many people don't seem to understand that farming is manual labor with long hours and hardship every day. And it's all just to limp by. We aren't making much money. Story 9. I work in digital marketing and too many people do not understand the difference between marketers and web developers. I do not know how to code. I cannot troubleshoot your website from a technical standpoint. I cannot build you a website from scratch unless I use a service like WordPress or Wix, which you could probably do yourself. My job is to market your services to bring in customers and work on your SEO and/or manage your social media. I can create content for your website and upload it, but if your website is erroring out and is totally broken, that's not my job and I can't help you. Too many companies throw websites together and don't employ a web developer and get shocked when eventually their website just doesn't function. Also, not every marketer is a graphic designer. I'm relatively good at graphic design, but graphic design is often a job in itself. It's in the same vein that people who are graphic designers aren't always good at marketing. It's one thing to design and generate the content, and another thing to promote it well and bring in customers using it. Story 10 writer. Their eyes are green because that's the color I thought of when I built the character. It's not that deep most of the time. Also, no, I don't want to read the first draft of the book you started when you were 12. That's such a great idea. Believe me, none of us write well at 12, and no, I won't read it for free. Story 11. That it can fix anything. Usually we can, but most of the time it won't justify the cost or my time. As for smaller things or printers, yes we can. We just happen to be able to Google things. I don't have a manual about everything in my head. I have Google in my pocket and on your screen. Story 12. So I get all the anger over big pharma and price gouging, but the general distrust of human research that still persists today is unfortunate. I'm not even talking about the distrust from populations who have been harmed by it in the past. Just people who have the misconception that it's a scam, or the results are manipulated to make more money, etc., etc. An example of this would be, when Neuralink was in the news a month ago, there would be massively upvoted comments insinuating the volunteer was paid off by Musk. I've got my own concerns about Neuralink, but device drug study participants aren't paid outside of travel lodging reimbursement. The amount of effort that goes into ensuring patient safety and accuracy/correctness of data in research is actually quite huge, and so it's regretful some people distrust it so much. But yeah, the price gouging definitely contributes to that, as does Tuskegee experiment, as does what they did to Henrietta Lacks and family, etc., etc. I'm more sad to hear it than tired. Story 13, kind of a niche thing, but mortgage servicing. The bank doesn't want to foreclose if you start missing payments, because then it's just another house they have to pay to maintain and ultimately sell for likely a loss. It's much more viable for the bank and the homeowner to work together to see if you qualify for some form of loss mitigation to either modify your existing loan or vacate in a mutually agreeable way. And in addition, there are a lot of stringent and consistent regulations and laws governing the process from when you miss your first payment up until the end of the default episode, whatever that ending may be. Story 14. Hairstylist, if anyone could cut hair. Why did you all have terrible haircuts during COVID? You have to take into account the head shape, hair texture, cowlicks, deviation in hair color. It's not easy, and it's really hard on your body. Story 15. That people in healthcare don't care about you. Untrue. The vast majority of us do care and are trying to help you. My specialty is elder care, and I help get people in home care, home health, hospice services, or help them find the right facility for them. It is not all about the money for most of us. Relax and let us help you. Story 16. Yes, the plane can fly itself for the most part. The flying part is the easy part, and we offload some of it to automation so we can focus on other tasks. It's like showing cruise control in a car to someone who has never driven a car or seen a road before, and them saying, "Oh, I'd be a great driver, it does everything itself." Story 17. That flight attendants all cheat on layovers. Sure, there's shitty people like in any industry, but the majority of us just worked a 14-hour day, have 10, 12 hours at the hotel between flights, and collapse into the bed exhausted before we have to do it all again the next day. Story 18. I'm a support worker for adults with complex learning and physical disabilities, have been for 7 years now. No, you don't just wipe bums for a living. I keep them alive and happy, giving them a quality of life filled with as much independence and choice as they can have. I treat them with dignity and respect while, yes, at times, supporting them with personal care because, guess what? They can't do it. So someone has to. It's such a tiny part of my job and the least bit interesting. Hardly anyone hears about the love and patience, acceptance, and humility the people I support teach me and give me every day. Story 19. Federal civil servant here. The government is not your enemy. The government is thousands upon thousands of normal people, doing normal office jobs, living normal lives. They are not some malicious mono-entity with a sinister agenda. All their jobs literally only exist to serve the greater public interest. Sure, some police officers get power trips and some politicians are shady AF, but those are individuals, not the entire federal entity, even when it comes to national security. You might flinch at the idea of something like the NSA or DHS existing and meddling and surveilling and whatnot, but you aren't privy to what functions they serve in the bigger picture. People hear surveillance and think Big Brother is watching, but in reality they aren't watching you take a shit. They are watching suspected terrorists and foreign spies, making sure nothing happens. Orgs like that exist, so you don't point a finger at a disaster and go, "Why didn't the government do anything to stop this?" Because the answer is often, they did, you just didn't know it. Story 20. As a DoorDash driver, I have so many people ask me how I make a living off of it, because I have to pay my own taxes. If you actually keep track of things such as money spent on car maintenance, money spent on gas, money spent on tires, oil changes, etc., as well as the actual mileage of how much you travel every day, you can deduct almost all of that from your taxes. This year, for example, my taxes would have been over $10,000 until I put in all those various deductions and then ended up having to pay less than $500. It's not as much of a drain to pay your own taxes as you'd think, as you are basically legally considered an independent contractor in charge of your own job, which means you can take a lot of the deductions and whatnot that are offered to them legally. DoorDash themselves even encourage the use of a specific app that helps you keep track of mileage and money earned. And I keep track of the other things just in my phone's note app, such as how much I'm spending on gas and repairs. Story 21, HR isn't your friend, is said a lot. We're neither friend nor enemy. We're managing risk, which makes us inherently neutral. Unless you're a red flag, we like you. And trust me when I say that we have been put through more stress from having your back than you know. If we had a friend list, the people who would be further down on it than red flag employees are untrained managers. Story 22. Teacher unions are ruining education. The things that are ruining education are the ineffective policies set by the state, low standards set by local school districts, and lack of administrative follow-through. States and district adopt texts and curriculum. That curriculum can say that Earth is flat, and the Civil War wasn't actually won, but is just on an extended hiatus. Our district allows kids to make up failed courses in credit recovery and still walk at graduation. A year-long course is condensed into 6 weeks. A senior this year took 14 classes and earned the same diploma as the kids who worked hard to pass their classes. School administrators do everything they can to not discipline kids because it shows up on our dashboard, a public web page that shows the number of students absent, truant, suspended, etc. The result is kids become emboldened and act out even more. Story 23, tech support. We didn't start out angry. Turn it off, then turn it on again. No, we're not lazy. That really does solve a majority of problems. And no, shutting off your monitor is not shutting down your computer. When we ask you if it's plugged in, follow the cord all the way from your computer to the wall. If the computer gives you a message with an error code, write it down or take a screenshot. Describe the problem, but only what is necessary. I don't care why you were emailing your aunt. I do care about the message that popped up when you clicked send. If I come to look at your computer, get out of the way. No, I cannot fix anything if you are sitting in your chair in front of your computer. Printer problem? Take it out back and shoot it. I would rather work on anything else before printer problems. Story 24. I am a real estate investment analyst. No, I do not sell houses or apartments. Those are real estate agents. And no, thank you for your tempting offer, but I won't help you sell your house without commission, but it's because I can't. But I can recommend you to a real estate agent who could help you with it and at a good rate. No, they won't do it for free, but they won't rip you off because they are reputable and decent agents. Story 25, recruiter here. ATS does not automatically decline candidates, so there's no way to beat the ATS. We have to go through and look at every single resume. And that's in addition to everything else we have to do throughout the day. So if we ghost you, it's not personal. We just don't have time to respond to everyone. Story 26, janitor, custodian. Any service job, really. No, not everybody who works those jobs is dumb with no prospects/ambitions. Things happen in life, be it health issues, personal family issues. I never understood how someone seeing another person working a job like that can look down on them and treat them like dirt. A separate pet peeve is, I don't feel like putting this item back where it belongs. Or, I'll just make this mess and not clean it up because it's somebody else's job. Or I'm just letting them earn their paycheck. No, you're an asshole. To end this on a positive note though, as someone who's had a lot of these types of jobs, being polite, saying thank you, and being respectful to any service/retail/restaurant worker, or anyone really, are simple things that don't take much effort and can brighten up someone's day. Story 27, vet tech here. We do not play with puppies and kittens all day. We are not in it for the money. We are actually severely underpaid and underappreciated. We do not get kickbacks for recommending certain foods or products. We do not hate animals. We love them so much. It's heart-wrenching when people say, "Oh, I just love animals too much to do what you do." Your pet isn't themselves at the vet. I know your pet is sweet and whatever at home, but they can be very anxious and have fear aggression with us. We prescribe drugs because your pet has a right to an anxiety-free visit. No, we don't have x-ray hands. Do the diagnostics. Story 28. Not exactly my profession, but making YouTube videos is easy. If you want to make something of genuinely good quality, you can easily spend 3 days just writing the first draft of the script, then spend another day going through and finalizing, then another day actually recording, making sure you have enough footage and good quality footage, then spending easily a week or more editing for long hours and trying to come up with a thumbnail people will click on, just for your 3 weeks effort to be hardly clicked by anyone, and only having a third of the audience stick around through the video, then having no idea why it didn't do well. Story 29. I've got several jobs. Here's the ones I put the most time into. Line cook. Nobody's messing with your food. Well, almost nobody. Just like in any profession, there are some psychopaths out there who want to make other people suffer. But they're a tiny minority, and they get weeded out of all but the worst kitchens. The simple fact is that no matter how much of a jerk you are as a customer, no even semi-rational cook is going to risk their job just so you eat something gross. None of us are rolling in cash to the point where we can afford to get fired. Romance novel author. There's a difference between people writing erotica on AO3 and people publishing romance novels, and it's basically that we're just in it for the money. I have a lot of passion for writing, but not writing this stuff. I don't write things that I personally think are sexy. I write things that people will buy. That typically means catering to a very specific market of the sort of people who buy romance novels, which is a demographic I don't fit into. Sex cam manager. I guess the primary misconception is that nobody is doing this job. Or that if they are, they aren't really taking it seriously. My work is all about getting the most eyes on the streamer and thus the most money. I'm not getting off on the content, just as I'm not getting off on my own romance novels. I've got a couple other lower-tier hustles as well. I like variety in my work. Story 30. There are a few. If you ask me questions, I will have the answer and can give it to you so you don't have to pay my boss to give you the legal advice they specialize in. That's not how it works. I am not an expert, and I will not pretend to be so you can save a few dollars. Just because you ask nicely and then start to yell does not mean I'm going to give you a pass on the money you owe. I don't have that power, and if I did, everyone in our office still needs to pay bills and eat. When you dial the wrong lawyer's office, we don't have the ability to transfer you between the offices. Also, I don't have every lawyer's number memorized. If you want the number, Google it. It's what you're asking me to do, so you don't have to. I'm not information or the operator. Stop acting like I am. Also, no. Yelling at me doesn't make me want to Google it for you. It makes me want to slam the phone down on you, so knock it off. I am not being difficult when I tell you that Monday at 10 a.m. will not work for your appointment. I am not trying to make your case take longer or trying to make your life harder. I am, however, looking at the schedule, and it won't work. I am not going to call the court and postpone someone else's hearing so the lawyer will be available to you. No, I do not make the schedule for the court. If your case is next month on a Tuesday, take off work, find a sitter, do whatever you need to do. I am not going to change the court to demand that we move it to any Wednesday because they don't hear those on Wednesdays, only on Tuesday. So be available. And no, yelling at me does not make the court listen to me. Please don't worry. You are not the first person to call and cry on the phone because you're overwhelmed and frightened. I understand, and I really am willing to listen for a bit. I am not lying to you just to charge you more money. I am really listening because I'm human, and as a fellow human, you're hurting. No, just because I'm listening to your sorrow on a call does not mean I want to change professions so I can be your personal therapist. I will not come meet your kids to see if they're handling it okay. No, I do not have every therapist on speed dial. Seriously, use Google. No, not all lawyers are soul-sucking, wallet-draining monsters who want to destroy you. I haven't actually met many that are. You're trying to divide a life you created with someone else. It's not as easy as you think it is. We are not generating work for you, because it also is work for us, even if you don't actively witness us doing it. We want you to be divorced as quickly and as painlessly as possible. Please stop blaming me. I just answer the damned phone. A good rule of thumb is that just because you're calling a place doesn't mean they know every other place that is similar. The nurse at your doctor's office doesn't know all the numbers to every other doctor's office. The secretary at your lawyer doesn't know every other lawyer's number. And yelling doesn't help. Story 31, interior designer? How fun! People are at their absolute worst during a renovation or a build. I don't do those projects anymore. Too many clients decided I'm their punching bag and it's my job to get on the cases of their trades, who I didn't hire, when they're upset at how long it's taking. The trades are usually doing their best. HGTV has made a mess of expectations. Most of my job isn't creative. Less than 5% and 98% of clients want the same old, boring look they saw on some show and decided they need to also have because they don't have their own personality and preferences. I also get to act as unofficial marriage counselor when husband and wife can't agree. At that point, I usually just alternate between siding with one or the other regardless of what I really think. In the middle of my own cancer diagnosis and custody battle, I got to console a crying client who had just moved into her dream house and whose husband gave her $50,000 to furnish 2 rooms because she couldn't get the chandelier she wanted because it was discontinued. I was very fuck this shit after that. Most clients are just fine or very nice, but the ones who aren't make this job absolute hell. Story 32, I'm a production artist in the promotional business. No, I can't use your 200-pixel JPEG on something the size of my head. No, you can't just send me a picture of a can and expect me to turn it into anything other than the picture of a can. I get a surprising number of these people who want me to unwrap the art from a JPEG of a can and stick it on another product. Telling me to match the font on the image is an easy way to get me to put you at the back of the line. I have over 400 fonts on my computer, and I'm not going to buy a new one unless you tell me what it is. Because sure as hell, you'll probably change your mind after we already paid the money. Your tone-on-tone stuff won't look like you think it will once we print it on fabric. What you see on the screen isn't what you get unless you print on something hard. No, AI isn't gunning for my job anytime soon because I'm the guy who makes the templates for our products, and I'm definitely not teaching any LLMs how to use them.